mean by an inclusive government.
Yes,
Things that should be done on merit. So that's how we came about this thing. For the project BETP, Botswana Economic Transformation Program. We sat in the labs. I think we sat for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
More than a month.
Yeah.
Naki pangenza lenyalo ke saletse go morago ka dipaka tsa lenyalo ka ire ke tsohela gono ke sa itse step ke se di practice. But anyway, coming back to the business. Na comment, this is something that we never did as past government. And some of us coming from the private sector, we actually wanted something like this. But we never prioritized it and put it as the UDC government did now. So once again, I commend them for this. At least for coming up with something like this. The mechanism you think, structuring you think, how inclusive. You are saying Botswana, rehem me upolo alone. Hozo have le tale thota. I get it. Hozo have le nya me gompieko. Ise o re emeng go gate kapelo konte. For now, we think we can go with this one. Yes.
Rre Molebatsi, I want to ask you though about the model. Yone ya PEMANDU ya big fast results. Ke ra hore ha Motswana utlwa go twe within 3 months we're going to start to see movement, start to see change and transformation in certain areas. Do you think that model wa bone wa those big fast results is applicable? Is it a one size fits all into all of the sectors they're going to put capital into? You know, what projects? There's certain projects like mining and mineral sailing who di tlhoka long-term attention, di tlhoka they're very capital intensive. What are the strengths and maybe the risk of applying such a model to those sectors?
I think maybe where we should start. I'm not representing government, but from what I see, the government, like past governments, bana le objective ya gore tota re batla go isa le hatse kae le rona re na expectation gore UDC e re bolelle gore batla go isa le hatse go. You remember Ian Khama came with the 4Ds.
Yes.
Masisi mindset change. But these ones are talking about true north. Gore re tshwantse re sale na le dieneng ya shipetsa bang bana gore jeso go tshotse motho go kae ba ba tshwantse bana bana thoteletswa ya mo boitshepo ka gore they talking about the true north. The true north which is, I'm told, is cabinet endorsed. They want to detail national priority initiatives and projects across all sectors. They can lead this country into a high income society, which is digitally enabled, export driven, and economically diversified. And they continue to say where every Motswana is employed. Every Motswana is employed. That's yes. And empowered or fulfilled. So which is again commendable. This thing does not come from Norway. It's and they are focusing on certain sectors, not everything. Because the sectors that are focusing on agriculture. If out of the diamonds, out of mining, if about how transform the economy of this country and be an inclusive transformation, agriculture is the best. They're talking about agriculture, manufacturing, financial services, and digitalization, infrastructure development, tourism, energy and mining. That's the lab when any young working, health sector, education, and social protection. These were the labs that were there. None energy and mining. And coming back to your question, what this government was saying, give us projects. Let's say that's what we talk about, a private sector-led economy. Let me give a good example is my project. Energy, since 2013. Even before I went to Parliament, I was in the petroleum sector. And I was given government a proposal to say that instead of you, government, building some of the fuel storage facilities, instead of using this money, now I can come with money and build a storage facility And then not only government, not even government, even other players can actually use the storage facility. You see what I'm doing? I'm actually saying to government, let me relieve you the pressure of going to the fiscus and using money from the fiscus, and I can do. And I haven't shown them that I've got money. I had the money, I have a financier, I'll say it loudly here.
Yes.
Industrial Development Corporation, South Africa. Ilore Finance, Leading Mine, Botswana, and all those things. I had the money, they've written all this thing and all this thing. And since then, even could not open doors for people. That's why I'm saying this PEMANDU thing is a good thing. This new government is saying that bring them, bring those projects, bring private sector, come on board. For the first time, I'm seeing private government saying, private sector, let's talk, let's see where you can put your hand in more zones. You cannot, tender. There were no unsolicited bids, no
Motsadi, let me ask you about, many private sector players have always cried about bureaucracy as the biggest obstacle for growth. Too many rules, too much red tape, and not enough action, as you rightfully said. From your point of view, Modi labbing, is this a practical solution? Has your experience in the lab, did they bring together various stakeholders to remove that red tape to allow the private sector? Because the private sector, through the mouthpiece being Business Botswana, has always said, well, there's too much bureaucracy. And we want to understand what can we look forward to some results, Maduo, of this whole, the labs, etc., etc.?
You see, the way the labs were structured, exactly what you are saying.
Error. Okay.
But now from my experience, after being a cabinet minister, a member of parliament, and from being the private sector,
yes,
what is pronounced by government, political will, does not translate to things being implemented on the ground.
We appreciate that.
I said that on the labs, I will actually attend out to help like a police during the labs things for the 5 weeks. I said some of these things are good ideas as long as the culture, the civil service, the culture. The private sector, the civil servants when private sector is
yes.
Yes. You can imagine, like hanga similar ho owner a storage facility seka owner ke Botswana oil. I get it. But the thing called ke Botswana. Yes. So the issue here, which I'll go into it. It was good. All the stakeholders were brought. Bera ke ba BPC ke ba re kopana le bone gore wena Molebatsi project ya gago e ne le mathata ha kae
where were the bottlenecks
ne ba le teng ho ba ne the bottlenecks were there be re bua le PEMANDU ba le teng gona gore how do we get rid of those bottlenecks re be re nna gona gore dira di time plans re dumalana and everything. That was a good thing.
Okay.
But that does not translate into implementation on the ground.
No.
The question you could be asking, after that 5 weeks level, good company. So far, nothing. All this thing.
There's pushback.
They are not taking our calls. They are not. I'm a good example. I try to make clean ministry or energy with a certain in
the lab.
Yes. Can we've finished the labs? Can we now go ahead and then
now
implement or push the development of this project?
Yeah.
No. It's a civil service that I said to Batukodi, this is a civil service that I know.
Yeah.
If they don't buy into it, yes. The problem here is not the politicians much as that it's the structure civil service thing. How do I
that's always
expect a
been
guy
challenge.
who's selling it at 2012 ke batla go dira project there a le teng a gana ke be ke re gompe go after PEMANDU o ka dumela?
Self-sabotage.
What will make him
Mm.
What will make him agree?
Yeah, this is why this topic.
It's actually even on the NDP 12.
Yeah,
Ke bona NDP 12, it's written well, presented well by
always.
Rre Molebatsi. That's what
Yeah.
we're doing even our bogologolo.
Yeah.
Wa hane re busa ke re ha
Yeah.
di BDP busa. We're putting them well. We have nice policies. This growing the middle class
No,
strategy.
definitely.
This
Definitely.
Economic Inclusion Act. None of this have been implemented. But these are some of those that could actually lead this country into a private sector-led economy.
This is
Yes.
Rre Molebatsi Molebatsi that you're listening to on the radio right now on the Mid-Morning Delight with Swift and Ross. We're talking about PEMANDU and its role as well and how it's going to feed into NDP 12, which is something Parliament is currently debating at the moment, set to be effected from November this year to March 2030. Swift, we argue on the show all the time, Jorge. Botswana is never short of a really good policy. In fact, other countries have benchmarked time and again more Botswana, but we are still very behind, and it's due to our mindset. Clearly.
And clearly, and I think one thing we must put politics aside, and Botswana should stand up and understand the citizenry is now the invincible enemy.
Yeah. 100%. Let's take a short break, and on the other side, continue with this conversation, Rre Molebatsi, and then possibly talk about alignment with NDP 12 in real time. All right. Good morning.
Gabs FM. Power to engage your world.
Every little guy should have a cute formal fit to get dressed up in. Get smart for less at PEP. Shop boys formal shirts for only 139 pula 90 and waistcoat shirts from just 149 pula 99 pebe. Feeling fresh, great price. RSVP by Cute O'Clock. Head to your nearest PEP today. Life is better with PEP.
Motswana ko gae re boditse bagwebi ba Batswana ka dithuso tse ba di tlhokang go tswa ko Old Mutual.
Nna kana tota ke batla dithuso tsa insurance tse di ka godisang kgwebo ya.
Your business growth is our business, so we help you protect and grow your valuable assets. From tailored short-term insurance solutions, group life and funeral cover, to critical illness and credit cover, your business and employees are covered. Call Old Mutual on 399-5700 or visit oldmutual.co.bw today. Old Mutual. Do great things every day.
Environmental Systems is Botswana's #1 ISO and asbestos certified environmental waste management company with over 25 years in used oil collection, industrial cleaning, and soil rehabilitation. Contact them now at 72-331-771. That's 72-331-771 or 318-2934. Choose a partner. Choose Environmental Systems.
Nouza, kanto ana khona jang lo pala go litsa maisa sesole jana.
Ke DStv mmata wa me e re thusa gore mo lapeng Premier League for Daddy, Paw Patrol for Bambino, nna maitse wa ke itshwara ka Moja Love. My whole family is catered for ka combo ya nnete ya DStv Compact.
Mpitisa phone ke subscribe mma ke bokae.
Bona, pusha combo ya nnete ka DStv Compact package for only 450 pula per month. Sengwe le sengwe se mo teng. Visit www.dstv.com to subscribe.
Sironga. Power to engage your world is on 96.5 FM.
Through PEMANDU's Big Fast Result methodology, we will use economic laboratories to problem-solve ideas from the government. Local and foreign investors will be rigorously tested, refined, and fast-tracked into action. The labs will unlock bottlenecks, eliminate bureaucracy, and provide single-window clarity for any government initiative or potential private investment. If you're an investor, we encourage you to submit your transformative ideas to the labs. Bring your capital, bring your courage, and we will match it with speed and certainty.
Bring your capital, bring your courage, and we will match it with speed and certainty. Very bold words from President Advocate Duma Gideon Boko talking about PEMANDU, all right? And we need to now link it back to NDP 12. We were discussing the other day, Swift Hore, similar conversation here, NDP 12, re conclude here PEMANDU. Because what is NDP 12 to begin with? Because kind of we're talking about a medium-term strategy, right?
Yes,
PEMANDU
yes.
is a short-term strategy. So how can we move from short-term to medium, or from medium-term short-terming, right?
Absolutely.
And we need to talk about what now Parliament is debating it, and it seeks to embed a stronger results orientation, right? So I think maybe the question for Rre Molebatsi now
sorry, Ross,
yeah.
remember that Honorable Mogwasa was stating that he wants it, or rather they are looking for it to be private sector led.
Private sector led.
And that is where the correlation between PEMANDU and NDP 12 comes from.
So how well do you see, Rre Molebatsi, the lab proposals meshing with those NDP 12 priorities? What oversights or safeguards do you think Parliament needs to insist on?
Yeah, I think partly Swift has answered it. We listened to where they match. Ghana, I think PEMANDU is part of economic planning.
Yeah.
NDP is also part of economic planning. But now we are seeing something new in that the government is saying that bring in your ideas, bring in your projects that could actually be part of NDP 12. So that's what PEMANDU is all about. Is the PEMANDU as the private sector part of it? That's how that's how get Ghana NDP 12 law identified 6 policy priorities.
Yes.
Pillars again.
Very true.
Yeah, one was supporting SOEs and private sector led economy. You cannot support private sector led economy without the private sector being involved, without the project of Rre Molebatsi again. We are supporting diversified, export-led, inclusive economy.
Yeah.
Which is now that we really need to see running away from extractive resources, the mining, to see other projects, manufacturing, power generation, solar, and all the like. And we are happy modern infrastructure, but without detail, without meitsi, we cannot have manufacturing in the country.
Where do you think, and I want to ask you in that same regard, from the outside looking in and from the perspective of the inside looking outside, ministering, regulation, policy, state-owned enterprise, where do we need to take a look at and say, no, man, we need to transform this if this plan is ever going to work?
I think you see, what all this thing that you read, that I read here, all this PEMANDU, NDP 12, that is a difference from the thinking that we had or other governments had, where they can
same thing.
They came with this thing. But where this thing's delivered, no.
Yeah.
And that's
come after the financial year. In fact, I'm going to babusa close to 60%
of the budget.
Of the budget, yes. Yes.
So the problem is implementation.
The problem is which this new government or this government by it, they're identifying it.
And the problem is not getting solved.
I thought I would see PEMANDU from the 5 weeks that were there, or we could be seeing, traction in terms of seeing the project that made it go PEMANDU. We are trying to make appointments. They are not taking our appointments.
So it's
the same thing. We are really repeating the same mistakes.
So we need an overhaul of personnel in those institutions.
Human capital.
Let not before make if you want to please dead horses in the civil service.
Yeah.
You are not going to deliver this thing with a civil service ye
Yeah,
re
man.
faitseng ka yone ro.
Eh.
You are not.
And that's the
You
honest
are not.
truth.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying,
No,
but
and
I'm not saying, but
that's fair, that's fair.
I'm not saying, but
Yes.
some way a problem to us. La ne re busa re le bo minister ra ne re itse the officials tse le gore they were a problem. But sorry, Anna, mo tata Isauriana and all this thing. Unless you UDC lone ya re tata Isahela and all this thing, me we will not go anywhere. Mo is not even structural. Ke culture.
It's just culture,
Yes.
personnel.
Ke culture, personalities, tsa batho ba. Even now that when I look PS, I can tell you really understanding who you are guy and all this thing in their own ministries and all those things.
Yeah.
Push this nice things.
Megopolo e ba e lahletse kwa hela, they said,
No, it's a dream.
Jeez.
Yeah. The president and then what he did is that he about dissolve all the boards, that CEO.
Yes.
That SOE.
Yeah.
Yes.
That shows how you really want to. Where it's fine. I'm not
Yeah.
not everybody.
Not everybody's a rotten
Yeah.
apple.
Yes, yeah. But you can't inherit.
O tshwanetse go tsena ko
You can't
moding
inherit the
wa
structures and
mathata a
people.
teng. Yeah, yeah.
Bangwe ne le one modi wa mathata modi wa implementation. Yes. I saying to you that a guy who refused to implement my project in 2020
It's
and
not
in
going to
2010,
implement it today
you
just
think he
because
will go to
PEMANDU is here.
implement it today because the president will protect? No. And one of the things that we should do, it's fragmented. We need to have a project delivery unit.
I like that.
Yes.
Project delivery unit.
That's what we lacked in our past government. A project delivery unit. No. I'm giving an example. It's just a 42-kilometer road. And those things. I'm sure it's but you see the guy coming and all this. The guy is still holding on to the contract. Where's the project delivery unit? What's a mahaka? Why are you there?
How accountability?
Yeah. Get culture. No. Do you want if this new beautiful ideas, say UDC Tangaton, and I like them. They are new beautiful PEMANDU thing. BETP is a beautiful thing. It will be a dream. Some of this officials. Let me give you an experience. I can go ministering. I can an assistant minister go trade.
Okay.
Some go trade. Because I saw the cooperative. Cooperative worked for us for Marinar.
Yes.
Actually, we are the richest cooperative in the country. Yes, of course. Cooperative here about more than 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said we need to replicate this across the country.
Yeah.
Because cooperatives didn't.
And then what happened?
And I said, yes, I called these people back to cooperative, top civil servants, ministry. We sat down, said the first thing that we need to do is change our cooperative act. Certificates of cooperative. It can take you 3 years. Those are the bottlenecks. After that, a senior government official sat with me and said, hey, Minister, I want to Romo, Sean Tomalapelo, Bodo Casmacato, Boholucadendo, Bapalage, Bapalaka, change the corporation. Still, corporation quite change. You see, it's in the culture.
Yeah.
It's not a structural thing, it's in the culture. Yeah, the mind, yeah, the civil service. Yeah, for certain things cannot be changed. When I civil servants, we cannot have a private sector led economy. By a guy one. How would this private sector in some of the things they are doing? That's what they think.
And we've seen international organizations say the private sector is bloated. We have seen those conversations. We have seen the bone of contention between the trade union and government. And, at the end of the day, let me ask you this question, Rre Molebatsi. Given your experience, what would you propose to government outside of, your project delivery unit, including embedding some of these elements into law? Because I think also one thing that is an objective instrument, molao.
Yeah.
Molao is not politically affiliated. It's got no emotions. How can we, as a citizen of Botswana, what can we do considering your experience in terms of this matter?
I said I answered this question. I guess more like the parliament. Isi ke go cabinet na ke go backbenching. I put up a motion go parliament actually na rejected. We should come out with a program and a policy. Encourage civil servants, middle class, whenever Salimba Bereka, we need to change the culture.
Yeah.
You can't change the culture in some of those minds, still thing.
Yeah.
You get to get rid of them.
Yeah.
That's am I.
They need
Bring
to be
this
new cycles, right.
this new young people, Baba eating with new
within various industries.
Yeah.
With various, I have some. You tell before you were born. Now, actually, Nike from 1990.
Yeah.
Before you were born.
Way
the
before.
guy who taught me was Silver Pico Secondary School. Yes.
So there's no innovation
you
in
just
the
need fresh new minds,
new ideas.
so that you implant a new culture. The question that's why you need a policy, which I suggested. They are not productive anymore. Yes, we need institutional memory. Yes, you will remain with one or two. But
perhaps that would be political suicide. Perhaps that's where the political invincible hand comes in, where a lot of people within the UDC are looking at the next election cycle.
I've seen relatives of relatives some are reaching 60 now, but 55 and above, 58. Baba Santin Baberek. Baring Haba was a good Mozakore, good Haitiak, or Santuira Mutiro. Tarmas, Hakizon Hakaka. Can I have to other thing, Kahula, my Moko VDC, Lema VDC, Gakui Pele, where am I? So that's why I get it. It's actually good for it. When we did that, Hakizanamo cabinet thing, I convinced Tautona, the cabinet, we should do this, and we came out with a strategy and what the growing the middle class strategy. Growing the middle class strategy in era. I'll share a copy with you.
Yeah.
Please do.
In era, with one of the good things that we're saying in the thing, which was never implemented. I guess we are coming back to implement it.
Yes.
It's there. It's gathering dust. In a area, convince kana re lobby civil servants ba sa leng ba nna mo pusong gore ba tsamaye me ha ba tsamaya re ba neela package on top of the package le ba neelwa lenaneo le tshwana ya bo youth fund madi. Yes, gore ba go itshimolola business go that's why and all this thing. It was even going to the extent that ha ba paulwa, yes, they can come back. Yes. For the basketball risk. So I can tell you from my experience what I've seen. The restriction on import, the vegetables.
Yes.
You know, most of the production in a middle class society. You just need to come out with an
incentivized
move so that we bring in young people. Yes.
So, and I'm gonna ask you this, Rre Molebatsi, as you know, like we've been reiterating throughout this conversation, as a private citizen, you know, or submitted mining and energy, you know, and you were part of the PEMANDU labs. Is this strategy going to work, or are we wasting our time?
I am very hopeful that it will work.
Yeah.
That project delivery unit.
Yeah. Only if.
That project, because
with enforcement power.
Another power. Usually in some countries, a good example, Rwanda, there is this project delivery unit. But there's a thing called Rwanda Development Agency, something like which is headed by the president. Where these people report directly to the president.
Well, our president did say there would be a monitoring system.
Online?
There would be an online monitoring system. Clearly, that hasn't been established.
No. Here in this case, when I say project delivery unit, ha ke re ba ba nnang ko mo ga borone ba ntse gone go ba batla a good example ka project ya go Madinare ka tsela re dirang ko Madinare is not going anywhere it's an among wa boraro make 40 kilometers it's a direng it's a go sa ya go someone going there going to site coming with pictures meeting those people recordings minutes finding out for gone me go iragala and coming out ha tswa gone kwa ba ta ka tharabollo e leng gore ya dirwa there and there otherwise this 5 years will have nothing go se dira ngwaga se o itila ke ba bona ngwaga o siana mo e leng gore nako e siana mo e leng gore yes the project delivery unit not BITC but something else e leng gore se libile FDI in the country se libile all those things private sector initiatives me go report go tautona o motsa tautona yes go ka nna botoka unless bo tautona ba to ba tsale bone ba ba beela ko me kana tautona o ka tshaba go rota jwa ke dithopo again
that's a real risk you know we can't fault them for having on mogopolo right parliament is currently debating NDP 12 this is slated to run from November 2025 to March 2030 and it's intended to be the first plan to fully operationalize the national transformation strategy right Botswana is aiming for results right now we're trying to transform into an innovative economy. We're trying to diversify. We're trying to do this and that. Are we being too ambitious at the state that we are in? Are we overlooking certain things? Another thing that Rre Molebatsi has just mentioned is the culture. The culture is so bad that we can come up with the best plans in the world, the cleanest, shiniest plans, but they won't work if the people on the ground are not willing to tap in.
Absolutely. Look, it's been an eye-opening conversation, and I'd like to take the time to appreciate Rre Molebatsi's honesty in terms, and you can tell that he's speaking just as a Botswana to say, the same human capital failed us as Madam Krag. Is the same human capital you think will carry you to the land of milk and honey. At the end of the day, now I appreciate the honesty when I Ross. And it goes to show that we cannot keep pointing fingers at my UDC, my BDP. We are our own worst
we're actually in our way
currently from my immediate takeaway from this conversation.
Rre Molebatsi, let's offer you this opportunity to share your parting statement on the conversation that we have had today and maybe even throw a recommendation someone's way who might be listening to this conversation. Actually, we have a caller.
Let's
let someone join us for a second. Gabs FM, we lost that caller. Let's try another line. Gabs FM, good morning. Gabs FM, hello.
Hello. Yo.
Gabs FM, dumela temotho amudi. Delay line 3956962 if you'd like to catch Rre Molebatsi before he leaves off. But Rre Molebatsi, let's try again one more time. Gabs FM, good morning.
Good morning.
Dumela, hello.
Irile hela president da se kotama. Sitilo again na advocate ya or hukuwe batho.
Yes, you were.
Yes, well, I succeeded in one of them being fired.
Okay.
And irile hela has na go yana. No do di move go mo channel board. Gonna go to kanya. La gona la masala la go wa setse. Ya no 50 ke ne ke utla o bua gore gongwe ga batho ba ka go bua UDC tsa ba gore tlebele political suicide.
Yes.
Yeah. These people, these civil servants that are ka bone man. Already ne le gore ne bantse ba thopa BDP. So there is no political suicide there. So ne le gore ke batho bantse ba thopa BDP anyway. So UDC e tshwantse go ile ba ya lo khanya teng.
But you forget the trade unions. The trade unions as well.
It doesn't matter. President Khamana gona gore so be it.
Okay.
Well, if you want delivery, how you go tama gore anu please mongwe le mongwe go tlhelelele nya. So President Bokotle ba bua gore nya kana ba me batho bangwe ga bana experience wa go hira bo mang. So ke tle ke ne ke ipotsa gore ene na tsa ka experience ga tsena.
Thank you so much. Gabs FM, good morning.
Hello.
Dumela le kae? Yes, sir.
What's the me can tell mo go buang ke Rre Molebatsi. So Rre Molebatsi has always been very active. So ta ona dira tiro. So ta na ke na khamala go to. That was so surprised. kgang ya e buang tota o bua nnete o bona nagane ke le tautuna boko nka ba ke ntsha all the old blood ke ntsha yotlhe ke tsenya the new blood because this thing ya gore a tsamaye ka ntlo kore go tsena lo tsena mo ntlong o bo sa hele o itlina bo ro tana hela mo go ene le le ba bona ga rena kwa go na if it was me ne ka go ntsha all the old blood ke tsenya new blood and I believe you go ne hela ka berekela le hati.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that conversation.
Thank you kindly. Gabs FM, good morning. Gabs FM, hello.
Hello, good people.
Dumela ra le kae?
Le Paul.
Ra amogela re mosimane gape.
Ranyane Rre Molebatsi o nthatsitse ngati. Sa se buang go na le boammaaruri mo teng ko ntle ga one myth ya re le younger generation. E ka dira botoka go na le batho ba bangwe. You need a mix. There's no doubt about that one. You need a mix. Tse di kgologolo di kopane le tse di sa di tlhaloganyo o bereko go na le batho ba bangwe ba banyenyane nna ke bua ke nna ke ile ka nna manager go na le ba banyenyane ba ba berekang mo go gakgamatsa go na le ba bangwe ba banyenyane ba e leng gore bone ga ba batle go bereka ba ipatela madi hela
intergenerational mix
ya re na le mathata kana batho ba ba tsereng go tloba manager ba bangwe ba manager le ko e re ara tsa bone tsa training di son teng re na le syndrome ya MBA syndrome. Hala ona le MBA ga o ka qualify la bo permanent secretary bo director in any industry. Ha o bona le ko education ga go ngoka go nna mathata nne ke tse ko vocational research. O tla itela go tsere batho ba leng gore go thelele le ga se ba vocational ke bona ba rana vocational. O nenya me ETSSP plan eno re re se morago. E kileng ya para ba busele diala bobedi yone e bole tsala sente gore motho o tla bonga le mo institutioneng ke o na le trade tsone tseo ebile a ile motho wa vocational tota wa bona gore mathata rena tswa mo di ntse di ntse jang le Dr. Koma o kila bua re mo Botswana ga rena implementation capacity o na ra gone mo gore kana ha the head e sa itse go iwang teng e ka neela institution direction e ntse jang. So ko ne mathata rena lona fa bo helogela ne le gona gore di corporation di bereka mo go masa ga o ka tsana go ba Swaziland wa bona ka di bereka ka teng especially mo agriculture hello ka ha khamala ka re ke tsone di dira di be di implement di rekisi kana di hirisetse batho jalo mo ile gore ga di ntse di shota di nna di le teng hela ka gore corporation di ave di na le tsone ga o le molemi le gore wa itlola wa go tsaya hela o tlile go bereka wa go dira madi wa ba duela.
Thank you, right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Rre Molebatsi, your parting statement.
Okay, before my parting statement, Paul Mosimane, yes, yeah, me no sang kutasent. Nekere, even if you take out the older people, not all of them.
Yeah,
that's what I said. You need institutional memory. You can't take it. But I can tell you for sure, from having served two ministries, what trade agriculture. There are people even now who are there, even holding that are not supposed to be there. They always, So my parting word, if you really want to make a transformation, in the biggest asset that we have, get us unemployed people but educated. I could have one of the general you be graduate. Or we have about 20,000 more now joining the street. These are educated. So these are the people that regards the industry, and the other thing that we have is the middle class. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying but they can work for the economy somewhere else. Go private sector. Abatwe, may hear incentive, and I've seen it work for agriculture. Kade program yele ya miroho yele go to Litaki. But one LDC and this they've got actual enterprises selling what they are doing well because they want to produce, but middle class it's a gem that we can use somewhere. Lastly, I'm saying this again, Jorge. If we are going to massage the egos, re be re nya batho ba ta reng re paske re kobe batho a ke re batho ba kobera batho ba e leng gore a re simole process ya go ntsha batho ba e leng gore ba ka ske ba thusi puso kana ba tormente ka sebe ba teng ba bantsi.
It's as simple as that.
Ba bantsi. Thank you.
Yeah, Swift. I think Rumpiono's conversation has shown there can be bold promises. There's no shortage of them, but bold promises alone don't transform Botswana. They don't transform the economy. We need consistent delivery. We need to make hard decisions, tough decisions, ones that are going to not win us any popularity contests. And we need citizen engagement, and we need institutional accountability as well.
I think I'd like to thank Rre Molebatsi for highlighting the truth, and we don't get these kind of engagements where somebody can stand and take accountability for the flop of the Botswana Democratic Party and also recommend as choosing country over party. And I think for me that's my immediate takeaway, to avoid political change alone doesn't guarantee progress if the mindset, capacity and work ethic implementation policy, changing our constitution to a performance-based public sector. Kana how le mo teng yo gate o permanent and pension.
That's it.
How le mo teng why it's hey swift safe and that mindset has to change.
Rre Molebatsi, we can't thank you enough for joining us this morning.
Thank
and
you
all
very
the best
much.
with your two
and
projects.
I hope I've not
maybe it's for the best.
But these are my views and my experience being in government.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, thank you.
And I think in closing, sometimes those that are choosing country over politics, the UDC should open the doors for these kind of conversations to say, okay, Rona as Madomgra, former ruling party that have failed the country and who are choosing country over party.
Set the example.
What are my recommendations? Kind of experience is important. And I think that is one thing that will show that we live in a healthy democracy.
The Freedom Square is coming your way at 10:30. Let's wrap up that conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on the Mid-Morning Delight with Swift and Ross. Good morning.
Kalakamati. Power to engage your world.